Welcome to episode 1 of the Open Late podcast. I am your host, Logan Vandenheuvel, and today we have on a very special guest of mine, the newest addition to Vandenheuvel Studios. Give it up for Josh Nyhuis.
Wait, dropping shit. I'm fired already.
Gosh.
I've been here for 5 minutes and I'm already fired.
Josh is the newest addition to Vandenheuvel Studios, helping me out with a lot of stuff. We spoke about a month or two back, and it was actually a really good time because I think the video production world is really at a slow point right now, and it's going to be ramping up in that May, June, July kind of time frame. So it was good to get stuff set up and put some rubber to the road before that busy time hits. And you really had some interesting ideas. So
it's been fun. Just kind of getting started, learning more about something that I, really didn't know a ton about. But my thing is working on promoting, Vandenheuvel Studios as a brand and, establishing it. So people, they can relate with it and, excuse me.
Gotta get rid of that.
Yeah, dude, I'm smoking too much.
I feel like every time we record, you have a cough.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's just, I get it from Katie. That's why.
What?
Yeah, you heard me.
No, but it's really cool to have you. I think when you start your own business and you only have yourself to drive that motivation,
right.
And just having somebody else to bounce ideas off of, and it's awesome how much motivation and better ideas, and just we can really get a ball rolling with two different minds going at it. And I think we have a very similar thought process, and we're interested in a lot of the same stuff, which makes us really compatible to work together. But I think we both have very different backgrounds of what kind of experience we have.
Yeah, and it's always, I feel like it's easier to hold yourself kind of accountable when you have somebody else that's part of that team with you and kind of pushing you a little bit. Like you push me to do shit that I probably normally would be like, I'd rather just watch Netflix or whatever. But I'm like, oh, I got to do this. I got to get this done. And pushing to make connections or connect with people that I necessarily haven't talked to in a while, or, trying to find any little nook and cranny that we can to put ourselves in front of people and continue to build the business.
Absolutely. I think it's really cool just when, you were talking about coming on board with Vandenheuvel Studios, and you talked a little bit more about what you really want to do, with your future, where you want to go. And you the way you explained it was really, you want to take a company that really has their feet under them, where they have a really good idea and they really want to build it. And you basically want to help grow that or bring awareness to it, right?
Yeah. Yep. And just selling that idea, that business to people, and really learning that sales process. We've talked about it a couple of times with video. It's hard to sell video to companies that aren't necessarily, used to it or have used it before, because it's hard to see your ROI when it comes to stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So you have to have a whole different type of sales mentality when you go into a meeting like that and try to pitch why it's beneficial for you to spend money with us instead of spending your marketing dollars somewhere else. I think that it sets your business apart to have, a video like that, or it just really adds another level of high end, is what I like to use.
Yeah, and it obviously helps me out a lot, just because I don't have any sales background, and you went to school for it, right? You went to school for sales.
Yeah, yep. Did a couple years at the old DU University.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
And that was in Holland or Grand Rapids, or where was that?
Oh, Grand Rapids. Yeah, it's been a journey. I worked at Action for a while, and did the pro shop thing there for them, and got to meet a lot of really cool people, and kind of get my hands on a lot of different aspects of business. So that was cool. I really enjoyed that and learned a lot. So,
and good thing you did, because that's where we met.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you were working there. How long did you work there before the Wake Park opened?
Before the Wake Park opened, I think it was a year and a half, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a lot of changes going on when I first started working there. They did the new building, did the Wake Park, and there was a lot of different stuff going on.
Yeah. And I think you met a lot of new faces once the wake park opened too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there was that whole crew that we had up at Placid Wake Park, which was just a little 2.0 learning cable park up in Allendale. So it's really, really cool that Action was able to bring that to life, a full size one.
Yeah, it was impressive, like just watching the whole process when they built it. Like going down to the construction site and seeing it was really hard for me anyway to like see the whole vision of it, like when they were building it, because it was this little drainage pond in the back of this, industrial park. And it was like, man, this is gonna be a lake and a full size cable. So,
and what a cool establishment now, with them kind of getting into schools, getting people that are young wakeboarding, even starting them on knee boards, and people that have no experience other than like snowboard, skateboard kind of skills. They have that balance. They have that foundation of action sports. So getting people, and you can really see who's done it before.
Yeah.
Some of those, it's crazy to see an 8-year-old just go right off the dock first try and be like, yeah, I snowboarded a few times, and then just get right up on the cable. And I think it's a really good cable to learn on, just because of how high the pulling is, with how high those cables are. It helps keep you out of the water on the surface.
Yep. Well, that too, and it just brings a whole nother like reason for people to come to the area, to the Hudsonville area. It's growing like crazy. They got Myers over there now and a bunch of other stuff. So it's cool to have that, be like, people, you'll meet people from other places. Oh yeah, you guys have the cable part, the cable pond or whatever. People call it all kinds of different crazy stuff, but they know, where it is and what it is. So
I think it offers a lot. It's really beneficial having like the teachers, like having Scott or having Dakota write down with you on the dock, rather than, being 65 feet behind the boat.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I think it eliminates a lot of the reason or excuses not to learn it.
Yeah.
There's somebody right there until you go off the dock. And then if you fall, it's a quick swim. It's not deep, so it's not like scary for younger kids.
Except for the alligators that live in there.
God, and those snapper turtles, dude. I tried to land on them every time. Give them a little tap.
We're just kidding, kids. Action's good. They got it all. They don't have any alligators.
Good thing they hire gator hunters like you and I.
Yeah. Yep.
Shoot them with 22s and shit.
Yep.
But no.
Yeah, cool. So that was kind of how we met. They're doing that, and then I left there and am doing my current job now, doing sales, and we linked back up when I approached you about doing some snowmobile footage for us.
That was a super fun trip.
Yeah, because I'm super into backcountry snowmobiling. We brought Logan out to Canada with us and put him on a sled for the first time in the woods, and it was a little scary for me, but it worked out. Everything went well.
Well, mentioning backcountry snowmobiling in Michigan, I'm like, okay, all right. So I see when you guys go out to Montana or Wyoming or out west, I get that. I've been snowboarding out there. But when you mentioned like, yeah, we can drive 3 or 4 hours or 5 hours or whatever and be in really deep snow in Canada, I'm like, what is this? So it was very interesting to me. And obviously just having video background, I'm like, if there's any kind of, hey, we can make this a video, I am 2 feet in right away. So, and just the action sports of a backcountry snowmobiling, I'm like, if I just get to ride this sled, it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and it's cool. Like, not a lot of people realize like how awesome like the terrain is and stuff up there. Like, you really only have to 4 or 5 hour drive, and like you saw when we went up there, big rock faces. You feel like you're in the mountains. Like, there's no altitude really, but the terrain is really cool, and it's like city, and then you drive 20 minutes and then you're in the middle of nowhere. And it's
nuts.
There's not a lot of places you can do that, where you can get that far away and have, that type of terrain is really cool.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
And it's awesome going with you and the team, just the group of guys that you snowmobile with, because you guys know the area so well. I'll have conversations with friends back home that want to do snowmobile trips, and they're talking about like, let's hire a guide, because before we'd like, yeah, let's just go figure it out. If we go to Colorado snowboarding, we'll just go figure it out. We can figure it out. But on sleds like that, it's important when you go backcountry, and you could potentially be up in the mountains in Colorado to know like the avalanche danger zones. There's a lot more that goes into it.
Yeah, when we went out west this year, We did. One of our friends moved out there, so we went out with him one day, and I was glad we did because we would have been like totally lost.
Yeah.
Because it's like way different than what you think it's gonna be when you get out there. But it was definitely like lifetime experience. I mean, it was awesome. It was so much fun and getting to see what we saw and get out into the mountains, and we got to ride with one of the pro riders out there, 406 T Mac. Shout out to him. He's a really cool guy. He's up and coming right now, and that was a fun experience to ride with him for a day.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And you guys rode with Seaboys as well, right?
Yeah, we did a little video with Seaboys TV this year, so that was sweet.
That's cool. Those guys are doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah, they're killing it right now. Go check out their YouTube channel if you don't know who they are. But
just a bunch of dudes just with toys.
Yeah,
having so much fun.
And it's just like, it's so funny because they don't really like do any, like they do stuff, but like they're all over. Like you can watch one video and they're riding dirt bikes. You can watch another video and they're riding in their Maverick. Like they're just doing all kinds of stuff, and they're getting they do a really good job at like selling their brand. I really, that was some of the conversations we had when we met with them, and they do a really good job like marketing themselves to other companies. And that's how they do what they do, is because they get sponsored by a lot of these businesses. And I think a lot, businesses are sponsoring people other than professional athletes now because they see the value in that,
Definitely.
Because people associate with that too. Like, oh, like a regular guy can get this, whatever product XYZ. You don't have to be a professional, So it brings it to a level where it makes things more accessible to a lot of people.
Yeah. And YouTube as a platform has made that, I mean, it's made people that have any kind of skill like snowmobiling or any kind of organization or group like that. I mean, you can make a living doing it now.
Right.
Right. And before it was like, all right, let's go have fun and let's fund this whole thing. And now you have a project, you have something in mind, and you have some kind of background to show that you can do it. And now you're getting companies to fund it because they see how effective it is to use their marketing dollars toward you instead of just like hand out a few free gear at a place. They can market a more specific group with it.
Well, and it's easy marketing too. You don't really have a lot of money invested. Like you're shipping product out to people, and they're putting it in their videos that they're taking their time to film or whatever, and it's getting posted everywhere. I mean, you can see it. It's so accessible. It's cheap marketing. It's for certain companies it works really well to do. It just depends on what you're doing. It's not for everybody, but yeah, it's a cool thing that those guys are doing, and wish them all the success. And they might have a possible series coming out soon on your local TV station.
Ooh,
stay
really?
tuned. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
And I think what makes them work is that they can do it year round. It's not that they're just a snowmobile page, or they're not just a wakeboard page. I mean, they have so many different toys to like do dirt biking in the summer and this in the winter and something in the fall and spring and living in the northern states. That's kind of what you have to do. I mean, if you live in Miami, you can do a wakeboard channel and do it all,
Right.
But
and it's key too. Like you got to have content. You got to constantly post. Like if you're not posting for 2 weeks, like people forgot about you.
Absolutely.
Like they don't care what you're doing. Like you got to continually be putting stuff in front of people's face every day. So that way, the next time something does come up, or whether it be film a video or whatever, they think, oh yeah, I saw so-and-so. Yeah, we need to get a hold of him to come and do this or whatever. And that's kind of how I got hooked back in with you. Like I saw a lot of the stuff you were posting on social media. And I was like, hey, I'm going to reach out to him and see if he wants to film. And it kind of turned into a lot more than that. But
I feel like videographers are hard to find too. Like that's the challenge I face, is how do I promote myself to the right people, right? So it's really nice that we knew each other through action, because I don't know if we would have found each other other than just like that connection.
Probably not.
It's amazing how effective Instagram is as a tool, and you can search by location and you get a lot of models on the explore page and a lot of stuff like that. But yeah, it's going to be fun to see in the next few years the different tools that social media comes out with to help pinpoint the audience or people that you want to find.
Yeah, and I think too, one of the things that like sets you apart from other people that film is you're able to go out and do a lot of these different things. Like not everybody can go hop on a sled and ride. Like that takes a certain kind of person that can do that stuff. So, you know, for you to be able to have the access to like go out and get some of these shots that other guys maybe aren't able to go get, you know? And I think that too is like Peter McKinnon and those guys that we always talk about, like they have that ability too. And that's why they get some of the best content because they have access to, they're skilled enough to be able to go out and do some of that stuff.
Well, I think you need to. If you like, obviously, action sports is. If I could film 100% action sports, I would. That's the industry that I want to be in. You know, I want to be like I've always said. I want to be the next Red Bull media house, or I want to compete with them. Just because of everything that Red Bull films, I want to film. You know, I want to be with athletes and film their story or whatever they're doing because I come from a very athletic background of doing that whole Red Bull vibe of stuff, the dirt bike. You know. So I don't know. It's a really cool industry to be in. And it's the tough thing is finding athletes that number one are just have something special about them. You don't have to be the best rider for me to be interested in filming you. If you have a really cool story, like if you have had a very severe injury and now you've learned how to adapt to wakeboard, you know, there was a guy that came out with a prosthetic leg that wakeboarded at Action.
That's crazy.
You know, telling his story of like, how important wakeboarding is to him that he found ways around and was able to make wakeboarding possible with the situations that, you know, with the cards that he was dealt.
Yeah, I think that's what draws people into film is, you know, having that story. And like, I was always one of those people, like I loved when like watching college football on like Saturday mornings and they would do like that story about whoever it was, like, and the struggle they had to go through to like get back to play or whatever. Like, I always thought that was the coolest part because like it's motivating, you know, to hear people talk about that stuff. And that's a lot of you know, I'm a big Joe Rogan fan and listening to a lot of guys that he talks to like David Goggins and Jocko and a bunch of those guys. And like hearing those guys' stories is like, it's so motivating. Like I listen to it a lot at the gym and you'll be running the treadmill and you'll be like cranking that speed up a little more. Like you're like, man, I'm weak. Like I got to get going. Like, you know, Goggins is talking about, you know, SEAL training and you're like, oh, all right, I got to run faster, you know, but
you can connect on that stuff too. That's the most important thing I try to tell through my stories is like, I need my audience to connect with it. And if they can connect, they'll find value.
And you just, even if it's just the littlest thing, like the littlest piece in there, like just that resonates with someone like, oh, that's really cool. Like I plug that into my life or whatever in some way. And
that's the important part about, I mean, there's a ton of amazing athletes out there, right? There might be 100,000 very, very professional athletes out there. But there might only be 1,000 that you can make a really cool video on because like, I think you get the misconception when you're young that like you have to have the best gear and you have to live out in Utah to be a snowboarder. You have to, you know, live in Brazil to be an insane mountain biker or whatever you're going to do. And so I think the really cool films are people like in, I don't know, like Kentwood, Michigan or like Little Chute, Wisconsin that just like rip on a skateboard or a bike and like took their time of their summer with a one spade or like one shovel and they went into the woods and they built a bike park and now they're just like ripping and they built sponsorships and they built that whole story that now they can tell to get where they were. They didn't get funded by somebody, you know, because they came from money. I think.
Well, and I feel like too, like people that do that, they are the ones that end up making the biggest impact on whatever sport that they're in because they had to work that much harder to get there. Like it wasn't an easy road. Like they went through a lot of struggle and I think those are the people that leave those lasting impacts on, you know, whatever industry or sport that they're in. And there's also too, there's so many like, you know, professional athlete term, you know, there's all kinds of stuff. It's not just football, baseball, your standard stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of different things.
Yeah. And like I said, that's the industry that I want to be in. With you building companies, obviously that's interesting to you because you're backcountry snowmobiling, having that background and coming from sports. You played football in high school, so you have that athletic background. Is that kind of where you want to go with your building businesses or with your career? Do you want to stick with video companies or like?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. And like I said, this is kind of a new thing for me. And I just want to I want to be able to be the best at what I do, and I want to learn as much as I can along the way about as much as I can. I mean, I think the more knowledge you have in other areas, number one, you can talk to. It helps open up your network to talk to different people. So you can. I mean, maybe I'm not the smartest at it, but I can speak intelligently enough to talk to you about it, so we can have a conversation, and maybe that leads to something else. So I think that is a big thing, just trying to learn as much as I can right now and see where it goes. No real, dead set plan by any means. So
that's cool. I think it's good to have an open mind and keep your options open and just go hard at, one thing and use any of the leads that we have through Vandenheuvel Studios and the customers that we work with and do video work with. I think you'll get some other streets to go down. Yeah,
and that's what I'm hoping for. And like I said, I think it's just as many doors as you can open, and eventually something, is going to come across that, you can run with and just see what happens and play it by ear and, keep grinding.
Yeah. And it's good to have you on.
Thanks, dude.
It's real good to have you on. I'm glad.
Good to be here.
We could officially announce you to the team.
Yep. So. Yeah, it's been a fun ride so far, and big things to come, and we got a couple events coming up and some more films coming, so
it's about to get busy.
Stay tuned, everyone.
Yeah.
Keep your Instagram dialed on Vandenheuvel Studios, Twitter, Facebook. You know the deal.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Cool, man.
So
until next time.
Thank
you guys for listening. We'll see you guys next time.